Alright, hello everybody, welcome back. Long time no see. So today I'm going to try something a little bit different. Sorry the camera's a little wonky, but I couldn't find a good place to set this up. Anyway, so life's been crazy busy. My cafe has suddenly got really busy over the past 2 weeks or so, ever since I came back from Chengdu. So I posted that video of the Chengdu biker Harley Davidson rally thing. It was really fun. I also did kind of a vlog, but I haven't been able to edit it yet. I just been, like I said, so crazy busy, and also I completely demolished my toe. So I'll show you that real quick before we get started. So that's my toe. Obviously it's disgusting, and I did that at my cafe. Okay, so I did that at my cafe. I smashed it into bits. I couldn't even barely stand for a day. But now I'm alright, I'm standing. I can walk. But having this screwed up foot has given me the chance to make this video, so that's great. I'm very grateful that I smashed my toe. Today, I just want to talk about KTV. For those of you that follow me, which is very few of you, I know, I talked about having imposter syndrome in China when I was thinking about starting this YouTube vlog kind of new direction for my channel. I was thinking about how I always feel like I don't know enough about China to be able to talk about China. And then I started watching other Chinese vloggers and YouTubers, and I was like, holy crap, these people also don't know anything about China. So hey, I might as well try. But then after I made that video, I haven't had a chance to really talk about China just because I've been so busy with my business. So I want to just change that a little bit, see if you guys like what I have to say. So definitely, please, if you do enjoy it, remember, leave me a like and definitely subscribe, because I want to talk more about China as I move forward here. In that imposter syndrome video about China, I mentioned I watched a video, and I didn't want to put a link in the video. I didn't want to talk crap, and I still don't really want to talk crap, but I do want to leave the link in the description below now, because I want to talk more about that video and about reality. That video is in the link below, and it's by Reportify Media, a guy, I think he's Canadian, maybe American, I think he's Canadian, and he's living in Chongqing now. It seems like he hasn't been in China very long, but he's been in Southeast Asia, I believe. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Long story short, he seems to be one of the many current YouTube channels about China. They're like, China can do no wrong, China is perfect, China is amazing. And yeah, I love living in China too, but obviously there's issues, and obviously it's not utopia. So okay, so he made a video called Exposing KTV in China, and that's the one I'm going to talk about. So if you don't know what KTV is, first I want to tell you a little bit about my interpretation of KTV in China. KTV is karaoke TV. You go to a place and it's full of many small rooms, anywhere from a room for 2 people to a room for 20 or 30 people, maybe even more. And you can go there, you rent a private room, you get food, you get drinks, and you sing songs and play with your friends. So from my experience, there's 3 types of karaoke TV, KTV in China. There is the family-friendly KTV. This is basically the one that Reportify Media went to. And when I clicked on this link it was the first time I saw this guy's videos, and when I saw this link and it said exposing KTV, I was like, oh great, this is going to be an expose about KTV. And if you've been in China or you know more about China, you know where I'm going with this. But for those of you who don't know, okay. So KTV, from my experience, again, there's 3 types. One type is the family-friendly KTV. People go there for parties, just for a night out with their friends, go have some drinks, have some fried chicken, some french fries, some fruit, and sing songs. It's like a bowling alley in America. It's like a place where, a family fun center. You go when you have a good night for a couple hours, and you go home. So this is the kind of KTV that this guy went to with his wife and a friend, I guess. And it was a very fancy KTV, yes, it was a very nice KTV, but there was nothing being exposed about KTV in this video. And I know that's the nature of the internet, I understand that. However, if you want to know what the real KTV, what it's really like, you want to be exposed to it, if you're at work, you might want to turn this off. I'm obviously not going to show you any clips from real KTV, exposing KTV, but KTV is actually quite different if you want to talk about exposing it. So there's two other types of KTV from my experience beyond the family-friendly one, and these two types are both not safe for work. Yeah. These two types of KTV are alright, well, let's just get into it. The second type of KTV is basically like a brothel, alright? It's just a whorehouse. Yes, it's the same concept. There's rooms, you can sing, but you go in there and you have girls, and I'll tell you some stories after I explain the three concepts. But you have girls, and it's kind of more like a working class brothel kind of place. It's for normal people to go to. These places are very, very obviously places for getting your sex on. After you sing, or you know, whatever. And then there's the third type of KTV, which is like businessman, government, official, politician KTV. This is the KTV where these people have money, the people that go to these places. They're ornate, they're majestic. These buildings are just absolutely amazing. Everything is marble, everything is like gold, everything. The rooms are full of like Victorian era furniture. The girls look like they're supermodels. And while this is also basically a brothel, it's much higher class. This is like, again, these are like where the millionaires go. And it doesn't have to be a brothel in this case. So you have family friendly, then you have the straight up brothel, and then you have the one where girls, yes, also accompany you. Yes, you can take them home, but it's much more high class. So I've been fortunate enough, or unfortunate enough in my life, to have been able to experience all three of these types of KTVs. Now, I'm aware I'm not the greatest storyteller. I would like to kind of be able to explain, tell stories better. I don't have a way with words necessarily. It's hard for me to just come up here and directly like speak to you and tell you these stories. I feel like for me it'd be much easier to talk to somebody, maybe not interview, but just like casual chat. So if there's any YouTubers out there or any podcasters or anybody just wants to like talk to me before I start getting into these stories, please send me a message. I would love to talk to some people and tell you stories about China, or if you find my life interesting, I'll tell you stories about my life. That's okay too. I personally think I've led a pretty fascinating life. I've definitely been blessed. If you're one of those people that #blessed things, I would do that if I was that kind of person. But I'm not. Okay, so here's some stories about KTV. And first of all, I want to say that I'm not going to expose any particular people or businesses. I've lived in China for 8 years. I've worked in China for the same amount of time, basically. I've worked for a couple of different companies, Chinese companies, every time. So my bosses have been Chinese. They've been extremely wealthy Chinese businessmen. All my bosses have been this way. And so I'm not going to say any of them specifically, and I don't want to call anybody out or anything like that. And anyway, it doesn't really matter, because this is very, 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 very normal in China and in Asia in general, whether it's Japan, Korea, Hong Kong. This is a very common thing. So I'm not saying this to disparage or air dirty laundry or anything like that. I just want to put that disclaimer out there. This is very normal. So here's some stories about KTV, business KTV. One time I was in Shanghai, I was working, and I had a boss, and he was very much into like whining and dining and showing people a good time, trying, you know, that's building relationships. In China, you got to build relationships. I'm sure it's very similar other places in the world. And so I'm not sure what happened. I don't know if he was just tired, or this relationship he didn't necessarily see a future in, or what it was. But he said, "Eric, I would very much like you to take over tonight. Take this guy out, have a good time, let him do whatever he wants. You know, the company will pay you back." And so I've done this before for this boss and for a previous boss. I've done the exact same thing. And so it was normal. I was like, okay, I'll take this guy out, I'll show him a good time. So we went to like Riben Liaoli, like Japanese cuisine, like like steaks and all that kind of stuff, Kobe beef, whatever. And so we did that. It was me and this potential guest, client, whatever you want to call him, and his friend. So it's 3 of us, 3 men. And no, my boss, no assistants, nothing like that. So we had dinner, and then he said, hey, let's go to KTV. So I said, okay. I knew that, like, you know, like I use like my social cues, my experience, my history as a employee in this company to understand what kind of night and what kind of budget we should be on with this guy. If it's a high roller, a guy that's going to make us a lot of money, we can go and spend 20, 30, 40,000 RMB in a night, and it's no problem. And with this guy, obviously my boss didn't necessarily think he was that important, and he just sent me out there to go with him. I knew that it wasn't going to be that expensive of a night, but he wanted to go to KTV, so I took him to like the mid-range KTV that I mentioned before. It's basically like a brothel. So it was me and 2 other guys. We go there, and it's not very nicely decorated, it's not very fancy, and this is the experience of that KTV. We get a room, we had a big room, 3 people, a room probably for 12 people, because we like to spread out, you know, and we have girls that are going to be coming. Okay, so we go in the room and we sit down, and after a couple minutes, the guy, the manager, this one didn't have a mama-san, sometimes they have mama-san. The manager comes in, and he has a line of 20 girls, probably more or less 20 girls, and they all wearing the exact same dress, basically like a qipao, Chinese dress, and, you know, cut on the leg and cleavage showing, and they one by one, and they say their name and where they're from. My name is Xiao Xiao, I'm from Changsha, Hunan. Thank you, and they bow to you. And so they go one by one, and you get to pick your girl. That's how this KTV is. Once you pick your girls, the rest leave, and you can start singing. And the girls sit with you, they pour drinks for you, they touch your leg, or they touch wherever else you want them to touch, because it's kind of like a mid-tier, low-quality KTV. It's much more open and free. And, ow, somebody's biting me, ow. Ow. So that's how it goes. So after a few songs, one of the girls turns the lights off, and they say it's time, say something, and it's time. Next thing you know, when the lights are off, like the disco lights come on, and the girls start a dance routine. They start a dance routine, disco, and next thing you know, they're butt naked, except for, you know, a thong or whatever, you know, thong, okay? So they're topless, they're in a thong. And mind you, this is not exactly legal, but it's common. So the girls dance, and they dance, and they dance, and then they put their clothes back on, and then they come back and KTV again, sing, whatever. So this goes on for most of the night. You have your girl that sits with you, but these girls swapped, they switched. These girls they do their thing. They get naked a couple times, they sit on your lap and bounce on you. And then if you want, you can take them home. So, okay, let's talk about how much this cost. For a couple hours of some naked girls dancing on you in KTV, and we got a couple bottles of wine, and we got, or whiskey, I believe, I can't remember, 5 years ago, 4 years ago. Anyway, all this, I do remember cost 6,000. Now I'll tell you why I remember the price. Because I always pay first whenever, you know, you're taking your clients, you pay first and then you reimburse with the company. So I paid first, and it was 6,000 kwai, more or less. And the next day I go back to my boss and go back to the company, and I'm like, hey, can I get my money? Here's the receipts. And I remember my boss getting really mad at me. Why? He said that was way out of the budget for this kind of low tier VIP for our company, and I messed up and blah 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 blah. So anyway, that whole night I did not get reimbursed. I paid 6,000 kwai, which, I don't know, $1,000? $800? I don't know, it was BS. I was very, very, very pissed off at that time. But what can I do, I guess? And just one more thing. So this KTV night with this guy, we did not pay for any girls to go home with us. I did not pay for any hookers for our customers. So this 6,000 kwai was just drinks, the room, and girls to accompany you while you're in the room. If you wanted to take a girl home, of course it costs more, and that's perfectly okay. You can take girls home from any of these KTVs, the second and third tier KTVs. So this one is obviously more like a strip club or a brothel. It's very direct of what's happening. This is the real KTV exposure. So then another KTV, the third type. This is the fancy type. This is for the CEOs, the millionaires, the billionaires, the politicians, the government, the police chief. This is for the movers and shakers. So like I said, it's very ornate, very fancy, very complex. You go in there, and same type of deal. You go in the room, you sit down, and in this one, there's always a mama-san. In my experience, there's always a mama-san, not a man manager. It's a woman that's older, and she takes care of the girls. But the girls come in the room, they line up, same thing. They say who they are, where they're from, but they're not all dressed the same. They're allowed to show their personality. They're allowed to show who they are, because this is more like the girlfriend experience, as they might say. And these girls are much better trained. They're much better looking. They do what they think the customer wants. The other girls are more like, we'll get naked for you. But these girls in these high-end KTVs, they dress how they want, and they've all got like plastic surgery and stuff. They look like amazing. But they'll come in and they'll have a skill. They'll say they went to like Beijing Daxue, or Tsinghua, or whatever the best universities are. They'll claim they went to the best universities. They'll have some skill. Like I remember one time we were at probably the best, most expensive KTV in Shanghai, where you're easily going to spend probably 50,000 a night for a group of people, like 5 or 6 people. It's just insane money. And the girls like, yeah, I went to like Beida and I can play violin. And then so somebody chose her. It wasn't me that chose her, because everybody gets to choose a girl, right? And so somebody else chose that girl, and she came back in. She went to go get her violin, and so she entertained us, right? So the girls, the most of them can speak English too, or at least decent English, and they have some skills. I remember one time a girl was playing piano for us, because there was a grand piano in one of the rooms. So a girl played violin. The girls can really sing. They can sing great. At the lower end KTVs, they might be able to sing good, they might not. But these girls are like, in the high-end KTV, very talented girls. They look great, they can talk to you, entertain you, and they can tell you exactly what you want to hear, make you feel very special. And they will also go home with you if you pay them the right amount of money. It's very expensive. I remember, I don't know, I don't want to say. Anyway, me personally, I never took these girls home. One, because I'm not particularly interested in the prostitution side of things, but also, 3 things. 1, I just said. 2, my boss wasn't going to pay for me to take a girl home. And 3, I don't have the money to take these girls home. They're very expensive. So, all these reasons why. So, if you really want to do a proper expose of KTV in China, which I don't, because I don't really think it's proper to expose these women or these business people necessarily. But if you really want to do it, you would take a hidden camera or something into one of these fancy KTV rooms. And then you could do a real, this is what KTV is like in China, this is an expose. Instead of, hey look, I'm singing songs in a room. Yeah, it's fancy, but come on, if you're going to reportify something, report it properly. So I'm not trying to disparage him again. It's just clickbait really gets my goat. I'm sorry if I'm not a great storyteller. I would really like to be a better one, so I'm going to keep practicing. And let me just tell you one other thing. KTV is similar in other countries. I went to a KTV in Korea also for business, and it's the same kind of concept as China, but I'll tell you the funniest thing is when I went to KTV in Korea, in Seoul, we went to a room, and it was really nice, it was fancy, but there was no TV, there was nothing, there was no TV. I was like looking around, I was like, what in the world, what's going on here? How is this KTV? We're just in like a dungeon, just a dark room with no windows. And so all these girls were sitting with us, we're drinking, and then all of a sudden some guy in his like tuxedo, whatever, his bow tie, he comes in, he's pushing like a cart, like if you've been to school in America in the 90s, or probably 80s or 70s, they have the cart, they push in with the big TV on it. And so that's what they did in Korea, the first time I was in Korea. It was pretty, I was like, what the fuck? Anyway, so they pushed the cart in, and it had like had the microphones on it on the sides and it had a TV on it. It was really nice, but it was the exact same thing as in China. The girls could go home with you. I remember, again, not gonna say too much, but I remember some girls went home with some people, and that's fine. It's business. It's normal. Hopefully in the future, people don't buy people's business or friendship with women, but in the current world we live in, that's what happens. I don't know, man. Anyway, so I guess that's about it. That's what the truth about KTV. That's what KTV really is. And I'm sure that Reporterfy has other videos that are more interesting or more authentic, but I don't know, that's about it. So thank you for watching. I hope that you got something out of this. I hope you learned a little bit about China, and I will catch you next time. Remember, subscribe and follow and like and do all that good stuff. So take care.